Welcome back, everybody, to the I Am Passionate podcast with your host, Jaren. I'm back here today with another episode because we are well past week one of the NFL football season. So we're going to talk about, the predictions we made in our very first episode. We're going to build off of those predictions, and also we're going to make some predictions for week two. But before diving into any of that, I just want to give a huge shout out to my friend Caitlin because Caitlin designed the logo for the podcast. So thank you very much, Caitlin. I really appreciate it, and I really do love the logo. So we're going to talk about last week's predictions, and mostly what I'm talking about with the predictions and recap, it being mostly just when I gave a who I thought would win prediction, mostly those. And I didn't watch every game. I have Hulu Live Sports, YouTube TV, things of that nature. That's what's in my family. So the five games that I watched in detail are the Ravens versus Chiefs last Thursday's game, the Titans versus Bears, the Cowboys and Browns, the Rams and Lions, and Jets and 49ers. So the games that I watched, I will be speaking in detail about. And then the games I did not watch, I won't be saying much. I'll kind of just say what I saw in the highlights and just judging off of score. So Ravens versus Chiefs. I didn't give a exact who I thought would win prediction. I more so gave a hopeful prediction that my favorite team, the Ravens, would win, but they did not. One of the big predictions that I said was one of the QBs would make a late game mistake. Mahomes almost did, because when he caught that pass himself, that was the play of the game. That was the play of the game because if he did not catch that and it gets intercepted by the Ravens defense, that sets the Ravens up at about the 40-yard line with 2.5 minutes left to go and tie the game. But, because of that, the Ravens had to go down the field a little bit more, use up that clock. And, there was the Isaiah Likely incompletion. But some of the keys to the game, I did talk about the Ravens losing 3 offensive linemen would hurt, and the Chiefs took advantage of that. Travis Kelce, containing him, he only caught a couple of passes. He didn't score any touchdowns. Xavier Worthy was essentially the key player that, the Ravens could not stop. I understand he didn't have that many targets, but he had the ball 3 times. He had 2 touchdowns. And one of those was off of a busted coverage. But, hey, it is what it is. And still, the Ravens almost fought back to win the game. In thinking of it this way, and I understand you don't want to ignore certain touchdowns that teams get. But other than the busted coverage play, the Chiefs only scored 20 points, in which the Chiefs' high-powered offense, Ravens defense played particularly well. I would like to see, as a fan, Trenton Simpson more, because I felt as if the team was playing better with him on the field, and I understand that Trenton Simpson as a linebacker, as an NFL player, is very inexperienced, and I believe the best experience, will be putting him out there. And I understand that in the NFL, if you make one mistake, that might be enough to cost you the game, but how else can you learn unless you're put into those situations? And that's just a thing that you can say in life in general. But that was our predictions in that game. Packers versus Eagles, I did not watch that game, but I did pick the Eagles to win the game. I said they would win 31-21, which that score prediction was not correct, but I did pick them to win. The Panthers versus Saints, I did pick the Saints to win. I did not think they would win 47-10. I did not. I picked the Saints to win because they were the home team, in which that was pretty accurate. From what I did get to see of it in some of the highlights, and also looking at the stats after the game, Bryce Young did not look good. I understand why Panthers fans might panic from the week 1 game, and they're one of the few teams, I would say, understandably so. But at the same time, it is just one game, even though they got blown out. Going to the next game, Vikings versus Giants. I picked the Vikings to win. I don't really have a lot of faith in the Giants. I don't really have a lot of faith in Daniel Jones. I don't know who has any faith in Daniel Jones besides for the Giants organization for handing him, I believe, $40 million a year instead of doing that to Saquon. Moving to the Patriots versus Bengals. I picked the Bengals. I was very confident that they would win, and I was aware that in, I believe, the Joe Burrow era, they do not play well in week 1. But I thought playing against the Patriots, they'd win. I was wrong. I had said that the Bengals were going to take control of the game in the second half, when really, from what I saw, Joe Burrow had a touchdown that was overturned. Believe he threw a touchdown pass in the back of the end zone to Mike Gesicki, the tight end, but he wasn't able to hold on. And then a few plays later, he had what was close to a touchdown, but the Patriots defender made a great play, knocking the ball out, for forcing a fumble to secure the ball for the Patriots team. But hey, it was Rod Mayo's first win as the Patriots head coach. We had all those years of Bill Belichick, so in my entire life, the head coach of the New England Patriots has been Bill Belichick. So, in a way, seeing the Patriots win, kind of cool. And also, maybe I'm a little biased because the Bengals are in the Ravens division, but I still did not expect the Bengals to lose. Steelers versus Falcons. Before I go into my predictions, to my older brother who is listening to this podcast, I freaking told you so. He had told me in a text conversation that the only pick he did not agree with for me in week 1 was the Steelers. I told you so. I understand the Falcons got all these weapons and they have a great roster on paper, but they did win. I said to my brother that the Steelers are the best team in the NFL at winning in an ugly, sloppy football game. They just find ways to win. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in his entire time as the Steelers head coach. And I understand. Early on in his coaching tenure, had Hall of Fame players galore, like the Troy Palomalus, the Ben Roethlisberger, many other more to name. And I understand that even in recent years where, expert NFL analysts, reporters, journalists didn't have the Steelers going above 500, he still shocks people and gets his team to above 500. The Steelers won their game 18-10 against the Falcons. Their defense won them the game. And also, Chris Boswell kicked 6 field goals, which that was kind of crazy to think that, you can win an NFL game today in 2024 just by kicking field goals. That's just not heard of. Going on to the Texans and Colts, I did pick the Texans to win. I did provide a score prediction. I said that the game would be very, very close, if not go to overtime. I said I thought the score would be 34-28. It was 29-27. Anthony Richardson had, it's all over social media, and it probably will be for the rest of this NFL season, where Anthony Richardson throwing that crazy pass to, I believe his name is Alex Pierce, number 14, off his back foot practically, pressure in the face, throwing it downfield 60 yards. I saw the highlight of it. Crazy throw. Crazy. Cardinals versus Bills. I picked the Bills. The Bills were down 17-3. Josh Allen had a great game. I believe he had almost 300 yards. He threw for 4 touchdowns. And also, I believe it was in the Cardinals game where DJ Dallas returned the new kickoff style for a touchdown, which, speaking of the new kickoff style, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I saw some of the stats that they had for week 1 specifically, where the average field position for teams across the NFL was, I believe, at about the 30-yard line, where last season it was about it was less. And so basically the better field position that teams start out with, that just means the new dynamic kickoff is going to stay, which I'm not the biggest fan of it personally. I understand wanting player safety, wanting our players being the NFL players, to be able to stay healthy as long as possible. I'm saying I respect that. I just prefer the original kickoff, partially because I grew up with it. This new kickoff just makes me think even more that Devin Hester, without a doubt, the greatest return man in NFL history. There will never be anything close to it. Nowhere near. But that's a story for a different day. Titans versus Bears. Caleb Williams' debut. I did pick the Bears to win. I thought they'd win by 2 scores, but they had only won by 7 points. The Bears' defense and special teams won the Bears the game. There's no doubt about that. The Bears' offense did not look good. But Caleb Williams did not lose the Bears the game. My only concern with Caleb Williams, which this can easily be fixed, and this is kind of a 2-parter. First thing is some of the batted balls, at the line of scrimmage. I feel like it's common to see them, but I feel like it's not common to see. I believe he had 3 or 4. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but that's something that just kind of gets fixed with time, and it's his first NFL game. I know he had said that he doesn't get nervous. I don't tend to believe people when they say that they don't get nervous, no matter if you're a professional athlete, no matter if you're going in for a job interview. I don't believe people. Like, it's just human nature to get nervous. And if you told me Tom Brady near the end of his career was not nervous for games, like, I understand that, he's the type of guy to get hyped, but I would not believe you. Like, I'd imagine for somebody like Tom Brady, the nerves that you would feel in year 23 would be significantly less than you felt in year one. But I believe every athlete gets nervous to some extent. But I do think the Bears will be fine. If anything, showing that the defense can win you a game, that's amazing. You're not going to block a punt every game. You're not. You're not. Let alone return for six. I believe the Bears, they did do some good things offensively, and I think if they build on that, I think they'll play well, because you go all over TikTok, people are saying, oh, the Bears, they're not going to be a playoff team. Now, I'm not saying that they're 100% guaranteed to be a playoff team, but this year's Bears team will definitely be better than Bears teams in the past. Going a little faster, and also before transitioning to the next game, honestly, if Will Levis did not throw that pick six to Tyreek Stevenson, the Titans arguably win that game. I understand he was trying to get rid of the ball and not take a sack, but taking the sack would have given, the Bears back the ball, whose offense really did not move the ball the entire game. Jags versus Dolphins, I picked the Dolphins. I'm not really going to talk about Tyreek Hill's detainment before the game and that incident. Not because I don't have an opinion on it, because I do. It's just more so that I want to focus more on the game itself, despite him having a celebration of it. And I just think that it is not 100% my place to speak about it. I saw the cam footage. I'm not going to go much more into that, just besides for acknowledging the fact that it did happen, because an important thing for me to say is this has been happening for so long for people across the country. But going back to football, and also going on to the next game, Broncos versus Seahawks. I said Bo Nix would play well. He did not, but I did pick the Seahawks to win. I did not give a score prediction, but I just thought that Mike McDonald, the head coach for Seattle, would coach a great game in his first game, and that defense will continue to play well. Raiders versus Chargers. I said it would be interesting. It's Jim Harbaugh. He's back in the NFL, his first game as the Chargers head coach. I predicted the Chargers would run the ball a lot. Now, I don't have the total team stats in front of me, but J.K. Dobbins had 10 carries for 135 yards and a touchdown. He looked pretty good from what I saw in some of the highlights, and he had a couple of big runs. Going to Cowboys versus Browns. I thought it would be a great game. It was not. It was a very boring game. Kind of disappointing. And I'm more so saying disappointing because I thought it'd be kind of more sloppy, and by sloppy I mean closer. It just kind of felt like once the Cowboys took the lead, there was no hope for the Browns, in all honesty. But, this week one, going to start sloppy. Commanders versus Buccaneers. I said the Buccaneers would win. I thought the Buccaneers defense would, overwhelm Jaden Daniels, which this was a game I didn't watch, so I can't accurately say that they did do that. But Daniels did have 2 touchdowns and no turnovers. The Sunday night football game, the Rams versus Lions. I picked the Lions because there's no Aaron Donald. I thought the Rams defense would struggle without Aaron Donald. And at first, it kind of didn't seem like that because, there was late in the fourth quarter where they almost had an interception but dropped it. But, and also there was a crucial holding call when the score was 17-10, I believe in the third quarter, where they did score a touchdown but it was called back because of holding. And they essentially went on to kick 3 to make the score 17-13. I thought that was huge. But the game went to overtime, and something my dad had always said, to me and others, is that as a football team, if you can get 3 to 4 yards to carry, you'll win more often than not. The Lions took that to heart in overtime. I don't think they threw a single pass. David Montgomery punched the Rams in the throat to win that game. Cooper Kupp had a great game. Puka Nacua is injured. He'll be gone for the next couple of games. And then lastly, Jets versus 49ers. I picked the 49ers to win because we didn't get to see the Jets with Rodgers. I didn't think the Jets were going to click on all cylinders as soon as they got Aaron Rodgers even last year. I thought it would take time to build something as a team. But the 49ers showed just how dominant their defense is. So, speaking about the games for week 2, Bills versus Dolphins. I'm picking the Dolphins. The Dolphins are the home team in this game. I believe Tyreek Hill's going to have a big game, but I think the game is going to be close. I think there's going to be a late touchdown for the Dolphins to win the game. I believe the score is going to be 31-30 Dolphins. Now, going to Sunday, there is no Friday football this week. Seahawks versus Patriots. Give me the Seahawks. I think the defense that they have and their defensive scheme, I think is going to help them win pretty easily. I think they'll win 24-10. Chargers versus Panthers. I'm picking the Chargers with ease. I know last week I was talking about how I think the Panthers, they're going to be a different team. They're not going to be the same team. But based off of what I did get to see in some of the highlights, and also Jim Harbaugh, kind of being the coach that he is, they're going to be well coached defensively. I see the Panthers struggling for at least one more game. I believe the score will be 35-13. And also, in anticipation of a Chargers dominant victory, I picked up the Chargers defense in fantasy. For our next game, 49ers versus Vikings, I'm picking the 49ers. The defense is going to continue to dominate. I think maybe in the first quarter, it might start to look like a close game, but I think the 49ers, once they take the lead, they won't look back. Give me the score as 31-14, 49ers. Giants versus Commanders. This is going to be one of the games that I feel like, unless you're a fan of either team, no one's going to watch. But give me the Commanders. I believe Jaden Daniels will throw for 3 touchdowns. And I believe that this will probably be one of his best games as a passer, because I feel like, playing against the Giants will help him. And I don't have faith in the Giants. I don't. I really, really don't. Going on to the Colts versus Packers. Only reason I'm saying the Colts is because Jordan Love is injured. Now, I understand the Packers, Malik Willis is going to be the QB1, and I understand that the Packers are leaving some hope open for Jordan Love to play, but I don't think he plays. I'm no doctor. I'm no professional, so take me saying Jordan Love will not play with a grain of salt. But I think the game will still be close. I think Anthony Richardson will have a better passing game in terms of percentages. Give me Colts 28-17. Saints versus Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys. It's their home opener in Jerry World. I think Dak Prescott will throw for 300 yards. I don't think I need to say too much more. Give me the Cowboys 35-20. Browns versus Jags. I think this will be a tough game to predict. Probably one of the hardest games that I had to predict on here. I think the Browns will win because of 2 words. Myles Garrett. I know I said that last week, but I think, Myles Garrett, he's facing an offensive line and offensive scheme that is not as good. I think Myles Garrett will wreck the game, but I think the game will still be close. Give me the Browns 23-20. Next game, Jets versus Titans. Give me the Jets. The defense will play better, in which I don't think the defense is fully to blame for their loss against the 49ers. I mean, the 49ers kicker had 6 field goals, and their offense only had 2 touchdowns. So ignoring the 6 field goals, and also the 49ers kicker had more points than the entire Jets offense. I feel like the defense did their job. You can't contain, a high-powered offense, one of the best offenses in the league, to a bunch of field goals without them scoring a touchdown eventually. But in this game, I think the defense will help, the Jets offense. It'll help Aaron Rodgers. Give me the Jets winning 30-16. Bucks versus Lions. They played last year, and they played in, a really good game. I think it'll be a similar situation. I believe Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, I think they'll have great games. But give me the Lions. I think and hope Amon-Ra gets in the end zone. I say that just because Amon-Ra, as you already know, is on my fantasy team. Give me the Lions 31-23. This game will be close. And, the Bucks will try to drive down the field. They'll be somewhat close to the end zone, maybe about 30 yards away. It's a fourth down situation, and then they just don't pick it up. And the Lions defense essentially wins the game for them. Next game with my favorite team, the Raiders versus the Ravens. Give me the Ravens, but I think it'll be a slightly slow start because I think Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins, they will make life hard for the Ravens, but I think the Ravens will make some adjustments and, have some better offensive play calling this week. Here will be my big prediction of the game besides for the score. I believe an offensive player, specifically a receiver, not named Zay Flowers or Isaiah Likely, will score a touchdown. And I understand you would probably think Mark Andrews will be the one to score a touchdown. I'm going to predict that Rashad Bateman will score a touchdown in this game. Give me the Ravens 31-17. Moving on to the 3 p.m. games, Rams versus Cardinals. My gut is telling me this game could go either way, but I'm going to pick the Rams because of Cooper Kupp. I believe the Cardinals are going to have a tough time stopping him. Give me the Rams 27-17, but watch out for the Cardinals. By that I mean their offense will keep them in the game, but kind of fall short or kind of just run out of time. Bengals versus Chiefs. I would not be surprised if the NFL has marketed this specific game as their game of the week because whenever the Bengals and Chiefs play in years past, it's always a close game. It's always a good game. And Joe Burrow is essentially the only quarterback who has been able to beat Patrick Mahomes, whether it be at Arrowhead or in Cincinnati. The Bengals have had success, but I want the Chiefs to win this game. I think they will win. I should say that. I think despite the score, the defense will play better than people are expecting them to, because also Jamar Chase against the Chiefs in years past had played phenomenal. But I think they will contain Jamar Chase a little bit. Give me the final score. Harrison Butker kicking the game-winning field goal. Give me the final score, 31-28. Steelers versus Broncos. And I already know my brother's going to text me after he listens to this saying, I agree with most of your picks besides for this one. But give me the Steelers again. I believe the Steelers will have another ugly win. I think they'll make life hard for Bo Nix. I do believe Justin Fields will throw for a touchdown and run for a touchdown. Give me the Steelers 20-13. Sunday Night Football. My second big game of the week, Bears versus Texans. Give me the Texans. I believe the Bears defense will make it interesting, giving their offense a chance to win the game, but I think the Bears will fall short. If the Bears want to win, they have to come out firing on cylinders early to keep up, or else a blowout could be possible. But, like I said, I think the Bears defense will keep them in it. Give me the Texans 27-24. And then for the Monday Night Football game, the Falcons versus Eagles, give me the Eagles. I think Cousins is going to start out slow. I think the Eagles are going to blitz Kirk Cousins because I feel like, some teams might start to think that maybe Kirk Cousins is not the same Kirk Cousins. It's not saying that he can't be the same Kirk Cousins. It's mostly just because, he's 36 years old, which is old for an athlete coming off of an Achilles tear, which used to be if you tore your Achilles as an athlete, your season's done, probably your career. But I think the Eagles' rushing attack shines. Give me a Saquon Barkley rushing touchdown. I would not be surprised if we see the tush push and Jalen Hurts gets a touchdown. Give me the Eagles 30-14. So those are my picks for the NFL for week 2. I'm not going to go into depth about my fantasy football team besides for saying that in both of my leagues, I did fall short. In one of them, in actually both of them, I had a chance to win. More so on the sleeper app team. I needed Amon-Ra to do better against the Rams. That was just not in their scheme. They were taking him away. And on my other one, the NFL Fantasy Football app, I put up 123 points, which is not bad, but my opponent had like 4 players left, and I only had the Jets defense. So it was not looking good for me. But regardless, I just want to say thank you all for listening to this episode. Let me know if you have any things that you would want me to speak about for future episodes of the I Am Passionate podcast. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.